This is such an exciting video for me to film, and you will already know what it is by the title of the video and the video that I posted last on my channel, but I am pregnant with baby number 4 and I couldn't be more excited and more happy. I didn't document any of my pregnancies before on YouTube. I think I started my channel just after my last baby was born, and I wish more than anything that I'd made videos, or at least I didn't even have my blog then, so I don't have like the diary of my pregnancies to look back on for my first 3 children. I so wish I had, because I think it's such a special time to be able to look back and relive, and I don't have that for my first 3, so that's why I'm so excited to be able to do it for this baby number 4. By now I will probably have had, in amongst all the messages of congratulations, a few "oh my god, are you mad? Have you lost your mind? What are you thinking?" kind of comments. I might not have, perhaps I'm being a bit unfair, but I'm 100% prepared for that. When we first had babies, when we first got married and got together, Dan and I always said we wanted 4 children, and then we had 2 children very close together, 14 months apart, and said, actually no, we're not gonna have more children, we're just gonna have 2, this is really hard. And then they got a little bit older and life settled down and got a little bit easier, and then we thought maybe we did want more. I've always wanted a big family, I've said that before on my channel. I have a sister, but she's a lot older than me, and most of my childhood she had already got married and was living with her husband, so I grew up in essentially at home as an only child. I didn't have a sibling there to play with, and I just longed for, I really wanted a brother, but I would have just loved to have had brothers and sisters, and that is a big part of it, I guess. I've always wanted a big family, but I just love the chaos and the noise and the bustle. It just makes me happy. Drives me nuts, but makes me happy. I found out that I was pregnant when I was 5 weeks, and I just knew. I had had a bit of a false alarm the month before where I thought I might be, and I felt like my period was late, but I wasn't tracking it properly, and it was a bit of a guess, so it turned out that I was wrong, and I was quite, we hadn't been trying for long. We just thought we'll give it a go now in the run up to Christmas and see if it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, and you know, we'll just kind of let it go. So that particular month I was convinced that I was. Anyway, it turned out that I wasn't. So the following month I wasn't letting myself get excited about it or even think that it might be the case. However, I did download the app, I think it's called Clue, but it basically tracks your period and your kind of fertile window, they call it. So we had kind of made use of that particular month. So I was more aware of what my kind of cycle was and more in tune, I guess, with the whole thing. So very early on, I started to notice that, which has been the first symptom I've noticed for all of my pregnancies actually, is dizziness. I feel very lightheaded and a bit woozy, that kind of, almost like a kind of seasick kind of sensation. For some reason, I didn't take a test for another week or so. I think I didn't want to take one too early and be disappointed, plus I wanted to wait to see if I actually, how late my period actually was, and then I don't know, I was just kind of prolonging the experience. I'm not sure why, I do things like that sometimes. So I didn't take a test right away, I just kind of let it go on a bit, and I didn't mention it to Dan or to anyone because I'd mentioned it the month before and it hadn't been the case, so I just kept it to myself. And then as the days went on, I started to notice that my boobs were sore, really sore, and yeah, just little things like that kept kind of making me think maybe I am. So by this point I had mentioned it to Dan. He got really irritated by the fact that I was mentioning it and not doing anything about it, so he went out and got me a test, took the test, and yes, I was pregnant. So at that point that made me 5 weeks pregnant. Since then my symptoms have been pretty consistent with the symptoms I've had throughout my other 3 pregnancies. I have experienced more of the dizziness and kind of seasick feeling that happens most days. Other things I've noticed apart from the ridiculously sore boobs, I'm just looking at I've made a list because I know I'll forget. One that I didn't notice actually beforehand, but I definitely had, it seems to be going away a little bit now, but I was really cold all the time, but mostly in the evenings. I would, to the point where it kind of felt like a kind of cold you get when you're getting like ill. I felt really shivery, and I'd be sat there in pyjamas, a jumper, a blanket next to the radiator, and I'd still feel really shivery and cold. I'm not entirely sure if that was pregnancy related. I'm guessing it was, because it seemed to come on, and I didn't get ill. It seemed to come on kind of as my symptoms were getting stronger. But I've noticed since I've been taking, because I was taking folic acid, but since I've been taking my prenatal supplements with the folic acid, I'm feeling less cold. So I don't know if it was something to do with maybe lack of iron or I don't know, but that was one. Tiredness is just wiping me out at the moment. I'm fine all day, but when it comes to maybe 5-6 o'clock and it's time to like bath the kids and do all of that, oh my God, it's like a truck has hit me. I'm just exhausted. My limbs feel heavy. I just want to lie down. I feel really lethargic and just sluggish. Yeah, that period, I tend to perk up a bit then after I've eaten. So it probably is a lot to do with feeling hungry as well. I tend to wait till Dan gets home from work to eat with him, and that can be quite late on in the evening. So that probably doesn't help. Once I've eaten, I feel a little bit better, but God, I'm so tired. And I could see I'm getting up in the morning as well. I'm never really good at getting up in the morning, but now it's just I might as well forget it. Yeah, I'm exhausted at the moment, and that's probably the bit I find the hardest, because I feel like I can't do stuff with the kids in the same way, and I haven't told them yet. I'm not going to tell them until we've had the scan and we know everything's okay. So I feel like they probably notice that I'm not being quite myself, and yeah, that's hard. I'm looking forward to that bit kind of easing a little bit. What else? Nausea. Again, the same with all three of my other, I've never been sick. I'm so fortunate that I've never actually been sick through pregnancy. But sometimes I do get nausea, and sometimes I kind of feel like it would be nice to kind of get the relief of being sick, although I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So I am grateful that I haven't had the actual physical sickness ever. And so far, touch wood, I haven't had it this time either. I do feel, again, it's in the evening, so come 5-6 o'clock, I start to feel really sick, and it comes over me in like a wave, and I have to like sit down and have some deep breaths and drink some water, and then it passes. And then but there is like a period, usually most days, where I feel constantly sick for a good couple of hours. And again, it's that kind of seasick kind of sensation where you just, or like almost like a hangover, where you just feel generally a bit rank and just not very nice. So yes, I've had that, and that's been fun. Hormonal. My husband would probably say, yes, I've been very hormonal. I've been a little bit weepy. I found myself kind of tearing up at things that perhaps wouldn't normally make me feel that way. Not excessively so, nothing sort of too alarming for my family, but no, I have definitely been a little bit more tearful than perhaps I would normally. And the other thing that I've noticed, not consistently, but the odd one here and there, are crazy vivid dreams. And I don't normally remember my dreams, or very rarely I'll wake up and remember what I dreamt about, but these have been just weird. I can't even remember now what they are to tell you how weird they've been, but they've just been slightly odd. Like I've woken up and thought, what was that? Really random stuff, and very vivid. So yes, that's probably all of my symptoms that I've had so far. In terms of cravings, I haven't really gone off anything, which I'm quite surprised about. Typically in previous pregnancies, I've gone off coffee, which is devastating because I love coffee. I wouldn't say I've gone off it this time. I still have it most mornings, small, like very small coffee. However, I would say I'm not enjoying it as much as I would normally. Like, normally I'd look forward to my coffee and like really enjoy it. Now I'm just kind of drinking it and thinking, and perhaps not finishing it, even though it's only about this big anyway. So yeah, coffee I'm kind of not so chuffed about at the moment, although haven't gone off it completely. Yeah, nothing is turning my stomach. However, I'm definitely not enjoying sweet stuff as much as I would normally. I will still eat chocolate because I can't not eat chocolate, but I might be eating it thinking, yeah, I'm not, I maybe only have like a couple of chocolate buttons as opposed to half a bag. Yeah, I'm not in a chocolate and sweet place. But salty stuff, on the other hand, I'm all about that. I'm literally dreaming of olives and pickles, beetroot, and I could demolish a whole tub of olives in one sitting quite happily. I need to look up whether that's bad for you actually, because I literally could just eat them. Green olives are my biggest craving at the moment. I love them anyway, but now I'm obsessed. And hummus is the other one. Hummus and anything crunchy to dip into it. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, and Diet Coke, which I know isn't good for you at all, but because I can't have wine, and in the evening, if Dan's having a beer, like, I don't know, I try and limit it to maybe 1 or 2 a week, so I might save it for my Friday night treat because I'm so rock and roll. So yeah, a can of Diet Coke. It has to be a can, not a bottle. Really cold, with some olives. That is like that is my dream snack at the moment. Olives and Diet Coke. God, I've waffled on. I'm so sorry if this is a really long video. I'm boring myself now, so I'm gonna bring it to an end. In terms of the size of the baby, I've got myself an app, and again, I didn't do that before. Dylan and Merrin were kind of pre all the kind of pregnancy apps because they're like 8 and 10, so those things didn't really exist when I was pregnant with them. At least I don't think they did. Aiden, I don't know, I just didn't really bother, but this time I'm all over it. So I've got myself the Pregnancy Plus app and I'm following that all the time. And it tells me that this week the baby is the size of a raspberry, which is great because I love raspberries and that really excites me probably more than it should. I'm just getting the app up now so I can check that I haven't skipped forward a week and I might be even wrong. Oh no, I'm right, baby size. The baby is the size of a raspberry. Yes. Last week it was a blueberry, the week before it was a grain of rice, so it's growing pretty rapidly now, which is really exciting. I've done something really stupid and I've worn a dress, which means I can't actually properly show you my bump if you want to see that. I suppose it might be quite interesting to those of you who have had babies and are interested to know whether you kind of get bigger earlier the more babies you have. The answer to that is yes. I definitely have a bump at only 8 weeks. It's still kind of disguisable as a she's eaten too many pies kind of tummy situation. It's not like a fully prominent bump unless, well, I think it is, but only because I know it is. So to others it probably just looks like I've packing some timber. It's a challenge. I always find this bit such a challenge to dress because you don't want people to guess. Well, you'd rather people didn't guess. And you just, everything is so unflattering. Like my jeans are still fitting and buttoning up, but they're tight and not very comfortable. And I just look a bit frumpy and everything, I feel. So helpfully I'm wearing like the world's biggest smock dress today, which again probably isn't very flattering, but it's comfortable and there's no way people can see my tummy wearing this, so that's that. So that's it, my first ever, despite having 4 babies, my first ever pregnancy update on YouTube. I can't tell you how excited I am to do these and will be so grateful to have them to look back at, and I hope that it's of interest to you. Maybe you have a larger family, or you'd like a larger family, or you just like pregnancy updates. I hope you enjoy following along my journey with me. If you haven't subscribed, please click the button so you don't miss any of these updates, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. I'll see you in my next one.